Welcome back to the lead. Let's get right to our panel. CNN counterterrorism analyst Phil Mudd, former NYPD Director of Intelligence Analysis Sam Raskoff, and former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis. Phil, you just heard Senator Paul. He said the FBI has to do a better job. I know you're eager to respond.
Let me be subtle, Jake. Complete nonsense in terms of the analysis of this case. My problem when I see people like Senator Paul analyze these cases is they start with the case and they blow it up and draw a conclusion that's too general. Let me tell you how this game works. There's 330 million Americans. 2 million plus travel overseas, not every year, every month. 2 years ago, a dad calls the FBI and says he's worried about his kids. Let's take those two facts. A worried parent and a kid who travels. And you want to tell me that after a conversation with the family, the FBI should keep the case open? I'm telling you, when I served at the Bureau, the pressure on us was get more people off watch lists and close cases faster because, number one, you don't have the resources, and number two, you don't have enough information to look over an American shoulder. I am tired of people backseat driving when they don't look at how these cases are conducted, Jake. I've had it.
Sam, there obviously is a lot of backseat driving and 2020 hindsight going on right now. But in retrospect, if somebody's father says, my son's a terrorist, should the FBI at the very least interview the son?
I'm going to go with yes to that, Jake. And further to the point that Phil just made about travel, look, travel to Australia is one thing, but travel to Quetta and to Kandahar, that's an entirely different story. So you combine the travel to those hotspots with the fact that dad is basically saying of his own kid, he's got a problem. Incidentally, something that was said also of Abdul Muttalib, the Christmas Day bomber back in 2009. And I think that's cause for the FBI to want to interview the suspect himself.
And Ed, you, when you were commissioner of police in Boston, you obviously spearheaded a similar investigation to the one going on right now in New York and New Jersey after the Tsarnaev brothers killed 4 people in Boston. I know that the second guessing and the 2020 hindsight can be annoying, but does Senator Paul have any point when he says that the FBI doesn't seem to want to learn from its mistakes, such as in the Orlando shooting when he had been suspect and then taken off the watch list?
So let me answer that question directly. The FBI has evolved enormously in the last 10 years as to how they're working with other agencies and to the way that they do their business. But I know what the rules are, and I am as angry as Phil is at politicians who come out here after an incident like this and criticize police agencies. Senator Paul criticized the Boston Police Department after what happened at the marathon. He's now criticizing the FBI. The FBI is enforcing rules that are passed by Congress. Their rules and regulations are strictly interpreted after congressional laws that are passed by the Justice Department, who sets the stage for what the FBI can and cannot do. I've seen the flow chart of how it all works, and it's all based on our laws. And I get really upset when a guy that wouldn't know probable cause if he tripped over it is starting to quote statutes that he's responsible for in some part.
Phil, let me ask you, looking forward on this investigation or looking in the present right now, the alleged terrorist has, according to what we're being told, not been cooperative. If he had help, is there any sort of expiration date when it comes to the information authorities could get from him? And how are they trying to get information from him?
Well, the first is you're going to try to build rapport. He's got a $5 million+ bail. He's not going anywhere. So they don't have a problem with time to sit by his bedside and start working on him over days, over weeks, possibly bringing his family and his friends in. He does have information that has an expiration date. You can think of 3 quick categories, Jake, in terms of a conversation with a suspect like this. Number 1, imminent threat. Is there somebody else out there who will kill Americans? Number 2, co-conspirators. Are there people out there who might be involved in a plot, for example, building other devices, radicalizing other people? In the third tier, were there others who were aware, even if they weren't part of the conspiracy, and they've got to be talked to too. So he's got a lot of information that they want to know before they start getting out there on the street and wasting time because he won't talk.
Ed, Lindsey Graham and some others are arguing that this alleged terrorist should be treated as an enemy combatant, not as a defendant in the American system and for regular, normal people. That, of course, would deny him access to a lawyer. It would preclude him from exercising his right to remain silent. What do you think? Should he be designated an enemy combatant?
I do. I do. I believe that that's exactly the way they treated the Tsarnaevs in the beginning of that investigation. And I can see so many parallels to this investigation that this guy clearly fits that bill in my mind.
And let me ask you, Sam, a law enforcement official tells CNN that a notebook found on the alleged terrorist referenced Anwar al-Awlaki as well as the Boston terrorists. Does that signal to you anything?
Not really. Anwar al-Awlaki in this world is a little bit like the Rolling Stones are to rock and roll. Everyone is a fan. So the fact that Anwar al-Awlaki figures somehow in the notebook or the Tsarnaev brothers just means to me that he's someone who's paying attention to the jihadi landscape in America.
All right, Phil, Ed, Sam, thank you so much. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Coming up, it's as if you just arrived in a time machine from 1992.